Hey guys, tonight we're going to step into something quieter, slower, and softer than the day you just survived. The light outside has already dimmed, and inside there's that small relief you feel when the hum of daily obligations finally dies down. You're here in this moment, and you've carried enough thoughts in your head today to fill a whole medieval library. But the truth is, you don't need to keep carrying them. They're heavy, and you're tired. Honestly, if overthinking were an Olympic sport, you'd probably have a gold medal hanging in your closet by now, though you'd lie awake later wondering if you really deserved it. You probably won't survive this, at least not without falling asleep first. So, before you get comfortable, take a moment to like the video and subscribe, but only if you genuinely enjoy what I do here. And I'd love it if you left a little note in the comments telling me where in the world you are and what time it is right now as you listen. Now, dim the lights, maybe turn on a fan for that soft background hum, and let's ease into tonight's journey together. You start with the simplest thing, breath. It sounds unremarkable, but it's the anchor that's always been here, hidden in plain sight. You don't need to invent anything new, you just notice. Air enters, air leaves. That's it. Softly, you trace the rhythm. In through the nose, a cool thread of air. Out through the mouth, warm and loosened. It's like the difference between carrying a brimming cup of water with stiff, trembling hands versus letting it sit quietly on the table. You don't spill, you don't strain. You let the breath take its place. Your chest rises a little, then falls. Shoulders uncoil a fraction. If you had an audience right now, they'd barely notice the movement. That's the beauty. Nothing dramatic, quiet victories of calm. You breathe in and let it go. The mind, of course, tries to wriggle back in. Thoughts, like little caffeinated squirrels, darting around. What about tomorrow's meeting? Did you send that email? Would you really have eaten 3 slices of cake? You notice them, but tonight you're not chasing them. They can scamper all they want. Imagine sitting on a riverbank. Every thought is a leaf floating past. Some are crisp and bright, others are soggy and torn, but you don't need to scoop them up. You're not the collector. You're just sitting there, watching. The water handles the rest. It's not new, this trick of the breath. Around 2,500 years ago, in northern India, people were already practicing this kind of attention. They called it anapanasati, mindfulness of breathing. Monks and wanderers would sit beneath banyan trees, cross-legged, watching the same rise and fall you're watching now. Historians still argue whether those early practitioners were chasing enlightenment or simply chasing a decent night's peace. Either way, the method hasn't changed much. Breath in, breath out. You are safe here. As you settle deeper, it feels like standing in an empty cathedral. All at night, the echoes of earlier noise fade, leaving behind the hush of stone and shadow. A calm so large you could almost hear your own heartbeat bouncing off the walls. Except this cathedral is inside you, carved not of stone, but of softness. A quirky detail drifts in. Did you know that Roman soldiers once practiced something like breath meditation before battle? Not the spiritual kind, but controlled breathing drills to steady their nerves and keep formation. Imagine a legion of armored men focusing not on swords, but on inhaling together, exhaling together, like a massive iron-lunged choir. Odd, but it worked. Anxiety may feel modern, but people have always tried to tame their own racing minds. Now, your breath is like that too, an organized rhythm, steady and grounding, instead of scattered bursts. You might feel, in this quiet, the mind's stubbornness. It doesn't want to go down easy. It barges back in with half-formed reminders, with questions that aren't urgent but ends is on being loud. The trick tonight isn't to fight them. It's to treat them like noisy kids in the back of a classroom. You don't yell, you just keep reading your book, and eventually they get bored. You breathe in and let it go. Softly, you notice the body's cooperation. The jaw loosens. The tongue lies flat instead of pressing against your teeth. Your forehead smooths out, that small crease that's been there all day beginning to dissolve. Even your hands, usually curled into fists or holding on to something, are empty now, resting. You might remember how ancient Egyptians had their own take on calm. They believed the heart was the true seat of thought, not the brain. So, when someone died, they scooped out the brain during mummification, but carefully preserved the heart. The logic was backward to us, but strangely poetic. Maybe the heart was always the quieter place, where calm resided. You can feel it now, beating steadily, softer than the chatter in your head. You breath in and let it go. Outside, the night has its own slow rhythm. Maybe crickets if you're rural. Maybe a low hum of distant cars if you're in a city. The world sounds softer at night, like it, too, has decided to exhale. You lean into that. The stillness outside, the stillness inside. And as you watch your thoughts try their little gymnastics routine, you start to see the pattern. They come, they flip, they vanish. None of them stick. That's the liberation. You don't have to wrestle every thought into submission. You can watch them cartwheel off stage. It's almost funny, isn't it? The brain, so desperate to keep busy, invents problems like a bored child invents games. What if you tripped tomorrow in front of everyone? What if you left the oven on, even though you didn't cook today? These small lies of the anxious mind lose their power when you just observe them, like bad late-night TV reruns. You are safe here. The breath keeps looping, and every loop feels like it carries on, say, another ounce of tension. Think of it as laundry. Each inhale, you pick up a dirty shirt of stress. Each exhale, the river carries it away. By the time you're done, the basket's lighter. You never needed to wear all those layers of worry anyway. Historians still argue whether breathing techniques developed independently across cultures or spread along ancient trade routes. Either way, from Buddhist monks in Asia to Stoic philosophers in Greece, the method is eerily consistent. Slow the breath, steady the mind, and you're doing the same thing now, joining a very old club of restless humans learning to pause. You breathe in and let it go. The chest softens again, eyes drift heavier, though you don't need to close them yet. They hover half-lidded, like the curtains of a stage waiting to drop. A sleepy smile might creep across your face now, because in this moment, you realize how simple it really is. You don't need grand solutions or cosmic revelations. You just needed to remember what your body always knew. How to breathe, how to sit still, how to wait without panic. And as you drift deeper into this rhythm, you feel the edges of the day begin to dissolve. The errands, the screens, the conversations, even the cake slices, they blur like chalk drawings in the rain. What stays is only the hush. You breathe in and let it go. You notice how the breath has softened into something you don't even have to manage anymore. It's running quietly on its own, like a background melody you've heard so long you forget you're humming it. That frees you to watch the mind itself, its odd fireworks, its stubborn loops. Overthinking is like that, isn't it? A machine that doesn't know how to stop spinning, even when the factory closed hours ago. So, tonight, instead of shutting it down by force, you practice floating past it. Each thought shows up, waving its little arms, and instead of pulling it into your lap, you give it a gentle nod and let it keep moving. It's like standing on a subway platform. Trains roar in, doors slide open, voices call you to get on, but you don't. You let each train pull away, sparks flying on the rails, until the platform grows still again. You breathe in and let it go. You picture your thoughts as clouds now, the kind that pile up during a late afternoon, fluffy but restless. Some drift in slow and lazy. Others race, jagged and gray, threatening storms that never quite arrive. You don't climb on them, you don't lasso them, you just tilt your head back and watch. They slide across the wide sky of your mind, and you remain on the ground, safe, anchored. Historians still argue whether the ancient Greek philosophers practiced anything close to meditation, or if they simply thought very hard about not thinking. But Stoics, like Marcus Aurelius, wrote in his journals about standing apart from the stream of thoughts, almost like a spectator. And that's what you're doing now. You're the watcher. You feel safe here. The body shifts into cooperation. Your shoulders are no longer clamped to your ears. Your belly, usually tight with little knots, begins to sag loose. Even your feet, which spend most of their life jammed into shoes or pounding pavements, are at rest, spread like lazy starfish. That sense of letting go reaches every corner. And in the space where thoughts used to jostle, something quieter stirs. A hush, a calm, so light you almost miss it, but it's there, just under the noise, like a faint ocean tide beneath city traffic. You breathe in and let it go. Now, of course, the brain isn't done. It coughs up random fragments, things that make no sense in the order they appear. Grocery lists, embarrassing moments from middle school, imaginary conversations with people who aren't even awake right now. The mind is a bizarre improv troupe, always performing, whether anyone's in the audience or not. But here's the joke. You don't need to clap. You don't even need to boo. You just let the curtain fall while the troupe keeps mumbling behind it. You breathe in and let it go. There's a fringe fact that fits tonight. In medieval Europe, people sometimes believed that too much thinking could literally overheat the brain. Physicians warned against studying late into the night, fearing the skull might be the humors, so they prescribed cool baths and quiet walks to chill the mind. It sounds silly now, but maybe they weren't far off. Overthinking does feel like an overheated engine sometimes, the fan spinning too loud, and here you are, cooling it down with each exhale. Everything is calm tonight. Imagine yourself floating, not upward, not downward, but sideways, across a wide, calm lake. Each thought is like a ripple, quick and fleeting, but your little boat doesn't tip. You just drift, smooth and steady, as if invisible hands steady the edges. The air is cool, the water smells faintly of pine, and the moon above has taken its post, watching over you. You breathe in and let it go. Quietly, you notice the urge to judge, to ask, am I doing this right Or, shouldn't my mind be perfectly blank by now? That urge itself is just another thought cloud, another passing train. You don't have to board it. You just stand there, relaxed, and let it depart without you. Historians, and what they argue, really introduce that practice. To next element still argue whether ancient Chinese Taoist practices like Zhuo Wang, sitting in forgetfulness, were meditation, prayer, or something stranger. But the point was the same: releasing the mind's grip, letting things dissolve instead of wrestling them into shape. That's what you're tasting now in these moments of gentle drift. You breathe in and let it go. The mind loosens further, like a fist slowly uncurling after holding on to something sharp. What's left is space. Space wide enough for calm to stretch out. Space soft enough for silence to lay its head. You didn't banish the thoughts. You just stopped chasing them. And the absence of chasing feels like peace. Sometimes you even laugh quietly at the mind's ridiculousness, like remembering that one time you panicked about losing your phone while you were literally holding it. The brain can be a prankster, but tonight you're in on the joke. You are safe here. The longer you float, the more the edges blur. The line between you and the thoughts, between you and the night, softens. You're not fighting. You're not fixing. You're simply drifting in a sea of calm, letting the current carry what it will. And the clouds overhead keep moving, always moving. You don't hold them. You don't need to. The sky remains vast and steady, no matter how many pass. That sky is your calm mind, wide, spacious, waiting. You breathe in and let it go. You've drifted into that strange, gentle territory where thought is softer, looser, like a watercolor painting that's been left in the rain. Colors bleed, edges blur, but somehow it looks more beautiful this way. And as you rest in this haze, you feel the pull of something bigger, threads of history, small echoes of people who came before you, all searching for the same calm. You breathe in and let it go. Quietly, you find yourself walking through a memory that isn't quite yours. A dim-lit library, stone walls, the smell of dust and candle smoke, scrolls rolled and stacked, ancient words scratched in fading ink. In medieval monasteries, monks would copy manuscripts for hours, bent over wooden desks. Their backs ached, their eyes blurred, but sometimes, between lines, they paused, took a breath, listened to the silence. That silence, as plain as it was, held the same stillness you're feeling now. Historians still argue whether monastic silence was about obedience or about cultivating peace. Maybe it was both. Either way, the hush those monks touched is the hush circling you tonight. Everything is calm tonight. Your own mind keeps painting odd scenes as you wander further. Ancient rituals of calm peek through the veil of time. Did you know that in ancient Egypt, people believed lotus flowers symbolized rebirth and serenity? They carved them on temple walls, floated them in sacred pools, even brewed drinks with them for ceremonial rest. Imagine sitting by the Nile at dusk, lotus blooms opening as the air cools, the river mirroring the slow sway of petals. That rhythm is not far from your breath now. Open, close, rise, fall. You breathe in and let it go. The quirks of human history remind you how long people have been chasing the same thing. In the 17th century, some physicians recommended listening to the steady drip of water as a cure for nervous disorders. They believed the mind could be soothed. Rhythm. And maybe they weren't wrong. Tonight, your breath is that drip, steady, predictable, a small sound repeating itself until worry grows bored and slips away. You are safe here. As you keep walking through this mental gallery, the centuries blur together. You pass a Roman courtyard where philosophers once debated about calm under fig trees, voices echoing off stone columns. You wander into a Zen garden in Kyoto, gravel raked into patterns, a monk pausing to notice the stillness between the sound of the rake. You drift past Victorian parlors where people read aloud poetry about nightfall and silence. All of them, in their own way, reaching for the hush you are holding now. Historians still argue whether calm is something cultivated or simply uncovered, like brushing sand off an ancient carving. But your body is proving the answer. It's already here. You're just making space for it to show itself. You breathe in and let it go. The oddest practices. Phase 2. In medieval times, some believed carrying a smooth pebble in your pocket could calm anxiety, rolling it between your fingers like a talisman. Today we'd call it a fidget stone. The details change, but the need hasn't. Humans have always craved something to hold or to release. Tonight, your pebble is your breath. Small, steady, always near. And maybe in the future, someone will look back at us, our apps, our podcasts, our meditations on glowing screens, and smile at the ways we chased calm. They'll see the same truth. People never stop seeking stillness. You feel safe here. Your own mind dips in and out of these stories, like a lantern gliding through a dark hall. The glow moves, shadows lengthen, but the path stays visible. You don't need to clutch the lantern tightly. It's steady in your hand. You keep walking, each breath a step, each exhale the sound of your feet brushing over smooth stone. You breathe in and let it go. And then there's the scholarly side of this. Modern historians, neuroscientists, psychologists, they still argue whether meditation works because of ancient wisdom or just because it tricks the nervous system into calming down. But the debate doesn't matter in this moment. What matters is the hush, the way your mind feels more like a still pond than a storm. Whether it's cosmic or chemical, the relief is real. You're floating through history's calm spaces now, and your body carries that echo. The monks, the soldiers, the poets, the philosophers, they're all sitting quietly in the same invisible circle with you. Different centuries, same exhale. You breathe in and let it go. The deeper you drift, the less you need to know. Facts turn soft at the edges, debates turn hushed, and what remains is the rhythm itself. Breath, space, quiet. The same constants that carried humans through sleepless nights for thousands of years. You can almost hear a sleepy smile in the silence, as though history itself is whispering. When you breathe, Om was always here. You just needed to pause long enough to notice. And so you pause again. You breathe in and let it go. The calm has grown thicker now, like warm honey spreading slowly across every corner of your mind. Thoughts arrive, but they don't sting anymore. They're softened, wrapped in velvet edges, fading before they ever take root. You start to notice something subtler, your habit of wanting to control, to fix, to solve, to prepare for problems that haven't even woken up yet. That's the core of overthinking. This restless need to steer every wave before it even rises. Tonight, you practice unhooking from that. You lean back in the boat, let the oars rest against the sides, and notice how the water moves without your effort. The boat still floats, the stars still shimmer above. The river doesn't demand your maps or your spreadsheets. It simply carries you forward. You breathe in and let it go. Control always pretends to be safety, but think back through history. The tighter people tried to grip, the more life slipped through their finger. Roman emperors built walls around their empires, only to watch them crumble. Medieval kings hoarded gold, only to lose it in wars. And still, ordinary people found calm not in control, but in small releases. A candle lit before sleep, a lullaby hummed by a fire. Historians still argue whether surrender is weakness or wisdom. But in this hush, you can feel the truth. Letting go is lighter. You are safe here. Think of a kite. If you hold the string too tight, it jerks, it struggles, it dips and crashes. But loosen your grip, give it some sky, and it dances on its own. Your mind is that kite tonight. Every breath is a little loosening of the string, a little more freedom for the wind to guide it. You breathe in and let it go. Sometimes control shows up in sneaky ways. Planning tomorrow's conversations, replaying past mistakes like broken records, micromanaging even your rest, as if calm needs a project manager. You catch yourself doing it, and instead of scolding, you smile. Because here's the irony. The very effort to achieve calm is another attempt at control, and yet, the moment you laugh at it, you're already free. And yet, a quirky fact drifts in. In the 19th century, some Victorians believed that sleeping with a book under your pillow could improve your intelligence, as if pressing down hard enough could force knowledge into the skull. It's the same illusion, gripping, controlling, forcing. But real wisdom, like real calm, seeps in only when you let it. You breathe in and let it go. The body has joined this lesson. The hands have gone limp, the eyelids are heavier, no longer darting about like restless birds. Even the breath itself has stopped reporting in so loudly. It's quieter, smoother, almost invisible. And in that invisibility, you realize control was never needed. Your body knows how to breathe without your commands. Your heart knows how to beat. Your mind, when left unchased, knows how to settle. You are safe here. The next one, odd truth is, humans have always tried to control the uncontrollable. In ancient Mesopotamia, people read omens in the stars, believing they could predict and prevent misfortune. In medieval Europe, charms were tied above cradles to ward off bad dreams. The desire to control is old as civilization itself. But notice, calm has always been found in the letting go. The monk who sits, the wanderer who listens, the dreamer who releases. Historians still argue whether fate is written or free, but tonight it doesn't matter. What matters is how light your chest feels when you release the reins. You breathe in and let it go. Control was always an illusion anyway. The ocean doesn't ask your permission before waves arrive. The moon doesn't wait for your calendar before rising. And yet, somehow, you're carried by both, floating safely in rhythms older than memory. That's the reassurance. You're already held. Everything is calm tonight. Picture yourself unclipping hooks. One bag, hooks tied to worries, hooks snagged on obligations, hooks tangled around your ribs. You don't tear them out, you simply unfasten and let them drop. The pile at your feet grows, lighter with each release. By the time you've unclipped the last, your chest feels wide open, your breath moving like an easy breeze through tall grass. You breathe in and let it go, and the joke of it all is that the world keeps spinning without your constant steering. That project, that message, that what-if scenario, they're all waiting quietly or maybe dissolving on their own. You don't need to wrestle them into shape tonight. They'll either sort themselves out or they won't. But right now, your only job is rest. You are safe here, so you recline further into the silence, unhooked, unburdened. The kite dances above, the boat drifts steady, the night cradles you without effort. And the calm mind that once felt impossible is now so near, so ordinary. You almost laugh at how simple it's become. Flow, you breathe in and let it go. The space inside you has widened now. It feels like standing in a meadow at night, grass whispering, stars stretched endlessly overhead, nothing pressing in on you. The mind is no longer cramped, tangled, or fidgeting. It has become a vast, open field. Thoughts may still wander through, but they pass like deer at the far edge, quiet and unthreatening. You don't chase them. The field remains, you breathe in and let it go. Resting in this spacious quiet, you notice how the silence is not empty, but full of softness, full of ease, full of a kind of gentle music that doesn't require sound. It's the music of stillness itself. And here, your body is so light it barely belongs to gravity. Your chest, once tight, now floats like a lantern. Your head rests as though held by invisible cushions. Your hands lie weightless on either side, as if they could lift and drift away with the air. You are safe here. Stillness has always been waiting for you. Think of the way desert nights stretch on, vast and starry, unbroken by city noise, or how an old library feels at dusk when the last page has been turned and the dust settles in the air. That's the hush that surrounds you. Historians still argue whether ancient silence was valued for spiritual insight or just practical rest. In monasteries, silence was discipline. In villages, it was necessity, the pause after work. But for you, right now, it's a gift, a place where nothing is demanded, nothing is solved, nothing is measured. Just breath. You breathe in and let it go. The quirky side of human calm shows up again. Did you know that in Victorian England, some people swore by sleep concerts? Musicians would play long, droning pieces late at night, believing the vibrations lulled audiences into restful states. Imagine lying in a candlelit hall, violins stretching notes until the line between music and silence blurred. That's the same boundary you're touching now. Everything is calm tonight. The sky of your mind feels vast, and the thoughts so small. They flicker, but you don't move toward them. You remain in the wide quiet, the space that doesn't need answers. Even the questions fade here, dissolving like ink in water. You breathe in and let it go. And yet, there's humor tucked into this calm. You remember the way you once panicked about trivial things, whether you locked the door, whether you sounded awkward in a text. Overthinking gave those tiny pebbles the size of mountains. Now they shrink back down, so small you could skip them across the still pond of your mind. One skip, 2 skips, gone. You are safe here. The body is nearly asleep now. Limbs heavy, but in a delicious way, Breath shallow but steady. Mind wide but unbothered. You are both here and not here, like a candle that has burned low but glows warmly still. Historians still argue whether dreams are messages from the subconscious, random neural fireworks, or glimpses into something larger. But as you rest in this quiet, the debate doesn't matter. What matters is the doorway opening, the soft descent into dream space, where the last of control and thought can finally dissolve. You breathe in and let it go. And as the hush wraps you, you realize how simple it really is. You didn't need to conquer thought, or battle anxiety, or chain the mind into silence. You just needed space, and now that space is infinite. Wide as sky, quiet as deep water, gentle as a lullaby. You are safe here. You breathe in and let it go. The night has carried you far, gently peeling away the noise until only silence remains. Your body has softened into the bed as though it has always belonged here. Each breath is slower, smaller, a quiet tide retreating down the shore. There is nothing left to manage now, no problems to solve, no stories to replay, no decisions to grip. The hooks have been unfastened, the strings released, the clouds allowed to pass. You float, effortless, in the spacious calm of your own being. And in this stillness, you remember that calm was never something you had to chase. It was here all along, waiting beneath the noise. Tonight, you uncovered it, the way dawn uncovers the quiet of a valley, or the way dusk softens a crowded street. The hush was always inside you. Softly, you imagine this calm spreading through your body, down the arms, down the legs, filling every corner. It's not just rest, it's renewal. Every inhale refreshes you. Every exhale carries away the remnants of worry. You are lighter, you are freer, and now nothing remains but rest. The wide sky of your mind stays open as you drift deeper. The thoughts, if they come, are only faint stars blinking far above, unimportant, unreachable. What surrounds you is safety, quiet, release. You are safe now. The edges of the night blur, and you feel yourself sinking into sleep, where dreams will carry you further than N words. Trust the calm, trust the breath, trust the silence that is holding you, and with that, you drift into deep and healing rest.